Dust danced in the air inside a big open ring. The ring was in the middle of a rough and empty lot in the city. It looked like someone had carved it right out of the ground. All around it, a wild and noisy crowd cheered loudly. Above them, the night sky sparkled with stars. Bright lights shone through the darkness, lighting up a shaky old stage. Onto the stage stepped Torque, the Rocket, Raleigh. He was a young boxer, full of confidence. He walked in with his chest puffed up and his fists high in the air. He had a big smile on his face, sharp and proud. "You're finished, Statham," Torque shouted, pointing to the other side of the ring. He was talking to Jason Statham, a famous movie star. Jason stood calmly in the corner, not moving much. His face looked serious, his eyes focused. Torque laughed. He threw mean words like punches. "You're just an old movie man," he teased. The crowd went wild, shouting and cheering. Their voices bounced off the buildings and the metal railings around them. Jason didn't say anything. He calmly wrapped white tape around his fists. His eyes didn't blink. He was still and strong, like a storm waiting to start. The air around them was hot and heavy with sweat and excitement. This wasn't just a fight. It was something bigger. It was about pride. It was about who was tougher. Could this young, loud boxer learn something from the quiet and brave action hero? Everyone wanted to know. One fight under the stars could change everything. This wild night might become a story people would tell forever. The crowd was loud and rowdy. Everyone squeezed in close to see. The ground was cracked, and the air smelled like sweat and spilled soda. Bikers, kids, and neighbors all stood shoulder to shoulder. Their eyes were wide and glued to the ring. Torque the Rocket strutted in like he was the king. He was lean and fast. His red boxing gloves flashed under the bright lights. He pumped his fists high into the air and smiled big. His teeth sparkled. His hair was wet with sweat, spiky and shiny. "I'm the king here," he yelled. His voice was loud and full of pride. He jumped on his toes, throwing fast punches at the air. The crowd loved it. They chanted, "Rocket! Rocket!" and clapped and shouted. Torque's chest swelled up. He pointed to Jason again. "That movie star? I'll knock him out in one punch." Some people laughed. Others shouted louder. Torque was loving the attention. He made fun of Jason more. "He's just a fake. He's not real. He acts tough in movies but can't fight in real life." Torque laughed loudly, putting his hands on his hips. He walked around the ring like he already won. Torque was young, fast, and had won many fights. He was proud of his record. "No movie tricks will help you now, Statham," he yelled, pointing again. "I'll make you fall in front of everyone." He had trained hard. He hit punching bags, jumped rope, and ran fast every day. In his mind, he saw Jason lying flat on the floor. He turned to the crowd again and shouted, "Watch me knock this movie guy out cold." Some fans screamed louder. Others looked at Jason, wondering if he would answer. Torque was full of himself. He thought he owned the night. He believed no actor could beat him in a real fight. But something was changing. The dusty lot shook with noise. Lights made big shadows on the ring. The crowd roared louder. On the other side, Jason Statham stepped out of the shadows. He looked tough and strong. He wore a black tank top and shorts. His muscles were hard. He didn't look scared at all. He carefully wrapped tape around his hands. The tape covered old scars on his knuckles. His face was calm. His eyes shone under the lights. He didn't yell or laugh. He just moved slowly and with purpose, like a panther getting ready to leap. Torque yelled more. "You're done, old man. You can't fight for real." Jason ignored him. He stretched his arms. His body moved like someone who had trained for a long time. He breathed deeply and stood tall. He looked at the ring like he had been there before. The crowd was noisy. Some people laughed at Jason. "He's just an actor," one man shouted. But a woman yelled back, "He's got guts. Watch him." People were excited. Could a movie hero really fight? Was Jason ready for a real match against a young boxer? Jason had trained for years in martial arts. He wasn't just pretending. He had practiced hard behind the scenes. Now he tested the canvas with his boots, bouncing a little. He was ready. His movements were sharp and clean. He was quiet, but powerful. Torque kept yelling, "You don't belong here, Hollywood." Jason still didn't answer. He stayed calm and quiet. That made some people in the crowd nervous. A little boy whispered, "He looks serious." Another nodded. "Maybe he's stronger than we thought." Jason's silence was like thunder waiting to boom. He stayed focused. His hands were ready. His body looked like a spring, waiting to jump. The crowd leaned in. Some people wanted Torque to win. Others hoped Jason would surprise everyone. Jason looked at the people for just a second, then turned back to the ring. This wasn't a movie. There was no script. Only real fists, real heart, and real will. The bell was coming soon. The air was thick with tension. Torque bounced around the ring. He looked full of energy. He waved at the crowd, danced, and punched the air. "Statham, you're going down," he shouted. His voice hit the air like a firecracker. Some people laughed. Others cheered. Torque's teeth shone in the light. His hair was wet and stuck up. He was having fun, making the crowd roar. The ground shook with the stomping feet of excited fans. He danced closer to Jason's corner. "This ain't a movie, old man," he shouted. "You're nothing but a stunt guy. Go back to pretending." The crowd cheered and hooped. Torque loved the noise. He kept dancing, throwing fast fake punches. His eyes glowed with pride. "I'm gonna knock you out before the first round's done," he yelled again. "I'm young. I'm strong. You can't stop me." The crowd shouted louder. A teenager yelled, "Torque's got this." Torque's grin grew bigger. He pointed again at Jason. "No cameras to save you. I'll send you home crying." He kept teasing. "You're just an actor, Statham. You're fake." His words were like little arrows trying to hurt. The crowd buzzed. Some people laughed. Others watched closely. Torque kept dancing and shouting, acting like he already won. But across the ring, Jason Statham stood still. He looked like a rock. His black shirt stuck to his muscles. His fists were taped tightly. He didn't smile or frown. But in his eyes, something sparkled. A quiet fire. The teasing didn't shake him. His breath stayed calm. His hands moved just a little, ready to strike. The crowd was split. Some shouted, "He's not a real fighter." But others yelled, "Go Jason! Show him!" The dust in the air seemed to stand still. Something big was about to happen. Torque shouted again, "You're nothing, Statham. I'm the boss here." He walked side to side, throwing his arms up, soaking in the cheers. But Jason's eyes locked on him. A storm was building behind that calm face. The crowd felt it. They started whispering, "Maybe he's not just acting." The bell was almost ready to ring. Torque's confidence filled the space. But Jason's eyes told a different story. Something was about to happen. The dusty ring shook with energy. The crowd roared louder than ever. The night sky sparkled above. The bright lights lit up everything. Torque the Rocket Raleigh was bouncing, his red gloves flashing. His chest was high, his voice loud. "You're done, Statham," he shouted again. "I'll drop you fast." People screamed and clapped. Torque laughed, spinning around. His voice crashed like thunder. "This ain't a movie, old man," he shouted. "You don't belong here." He leaned on the ropes, pointing and laughing at Jason. "Go back to stunts, tough guy." Some fans cheered. "Get him, Rocket!" Others clapped and hollered, "I'll knock you out before the round ends." Torque shouted, "You're too slow, too old." But Jason didn't move. He stood still. His face was like stone, but in his eyes, that fire burned brighter. The crowd saw it. Some whispered, "He's ready." Others leaned forward. Torque kept shouting, walking around, waving to the fans. "I'm the real deal," he shouted. "This guy's just pretending." Jason said nothing, but his muscles flexed. His hands were ready. His eyes stayed locked. Torque laughed again, but some people in the crowd now looked unsure. The bell was just seconds away. Jason didn't need to talk. He was ready to show the truth, with his fists. and the whole dusty lot was about to explode. The crowd was super loud, like a wild ocean of voices crashing together under the starry night sky. Bright lights shined down on the ring, making big shadows on the old mat. The ropes shook as the fighters walked around. Their boots scraped the ground, kicking up little clouds of dust. Then clang! The bell rang loud. The fight had started. The air was full of excitement, and people were sweating and yelling. Everyone was watching closely. Bikers and townspeople were shouting together. Some yelled, "Go Rocket!" while others cheered, "Statham! Statham!" The noise shook the night. Torque, the Rocket, Raleigh jumped into action. He was skinny and super fast, like a rocket zooming around. He moved left and right, so fast it was hard to see. His red gloves punched the air with quick jabs, pow, pow, hitting Jason Statham on the shoulder. Just a little sting to see what would happen. Torque smiled big, showing his teeth. He was having fun. He ducked and danced, moving like he was in a video game. Jason tried to punch, but Torque was too quick. He slipped away easily. "Too slow, movie man," Torque shouted, making the crowd laugh. People cheered as Torque dodged a big punch from Jason. Torque's feet moved fast, and his hands kept punching. Left, right, left. He was testing Jason's defense. A kid in the crowd yelled, "Rocket's too fast." Torque smiled even bigger. He felt like he was winning. He zoomed forward and landed a strong uppercut to Jason's jaw. Then he jumped back with his arms swinging loose and silly. "You're done, Statham," he teased. The energy around the ring was like lightning. Dust swirled in the air. Torque loved being the center of attention. But Jason Statham didn't move much. He stood firm, his big strong body not shaken. His black tank top stuck to his muscles. Sweat dripped down his face. But he didn't look scared or tired. He just kept watching Torque very closely. Another jab hit his cheek, but Jason didn't flinch. He was watching Torque's feet, trying to figure out his timing. He swung a big punch, but Torque dodged it again. Still, Jason wasn't worried. He took deep breaths and kept his arms up to protect himself. The crowd started to shout more. Some said Jason wasn't a real fighter. A woman shouted, "Hang in there, Jason." Torque punched Jason in the ribs. It hit hard, but Jason didn't move. He was like a rock, standing still and waiting. "Can't touch me, old man." Torque laughed. Jason didn't laugh. His eyes focused. He was studying, watching, waiting. The ring shook from their steps. Dust floated in the air. Jason threw another punch. It missed, but it was closer this time. He was getting the hang of it. Torque kept moving, still fast, still landing punches. But Jason didn't get mad. He was thinking, waiting for the right moment. The bell didn't ring yet. The fight was still new. The crowd was split. Some loved Torque's cool moves. Others were starting to believe in Jason's quiet power. The fight was heating up. Under the bright lights, the dust danced in the air. Torque kept zipping around the ring, his red gloves flashing. But something changed. He was getting too silly. He danced too much. He dipped too low. His smile was too big. He wasn't being careful. "You're nothing, Statham," he shouted. His feet skipped. His arms dropped just a little. But that little bit was dangerous. A man in the crowd yelled, "Finish him, Rocket." Torque winked, thinking he was the star. He threw a big, wild punch. But it was sloppy. He wasn't protecting himself. Jason saw it all. His muscles were tight, and his eyes were sharp. He saw the mistake, Torque's wide step and his dropped hand. Jason moved fast. He threw a giant punch. Smash! It hit Torque right on the jaw. The sound echoed loud. The crowd gasped. A girl screamed, "No way!" Torque wobbled. His legs shook. His smile disappeared. Jason didn't stop. He hit Torque in the ribs. Whump! Torque bent over, the air leaving his lungs. His fast feet couldn't help him now. People screamed. Some shouted, "Rocket, come on!" Others yelled, "Statham's got him!" Jason was like a machine, calm, strong, and smart. He punched again. An uppercut hit Torque and threw him off balance. Torque's eyes grew wide. He was scared now. He tried to move, but he couldn't do his flashy tricks anymore. His arms waved wildly, trying to block punches. Jason's eyes stayed locked on him. He ducked and punched again. BM. Another hook hit Torque's head. The crowd gasped again. "He's turning it around," someone yelled. Torque's feet tangled. He wasn't laughing now. He looked worried. Jason stayed calm. His punches were smart and strong. Torque threw a weak punch. Jason ducked and got closer. Pow! Another body punch hit Torque. He hunched over. His breathing was rough. His balance was gone. The crowd screamed louder. Everyone was watching. Jason kept going. He didn't stop. His fists flew fast and hard. He pushed Torque backward. Torque's back was almost against the ropes. The dust floated like fog. Sweat dripped everywhere. The fight was turning. Torque wasn't so confident anymore. He looked shaky. Jason looked stronger and stronger, like a superhero coming to win. The crowd was on fire. Everyone was yelling. Some cheered Torque. Others cheered Jason. But everyone knew the fight had changed. The old mat under their feet shook. The lights above blazed like the sun. Torque the Rocket, who had been so fast, now looked tired. His red gloves moved slowly. He was breathing hard. He was in trouble. The crowd leaned in. They knew something big was about to happen. "Get out, Rocket!" someone yelled. "Finish it, Statham!" another voice shouted. Torque tried to throw a punch, but it was wild and slow. He missed badly. His feet were wobbly. His arms were tired. Jason saw everything. His black tank top was soaked with sweat. His muscles were tight. His eyes were sharp like a lion watching its prey. Torque's punch whooshed past Jason's face. Jason ducked quickly. The air moved around his head. Everyone held their breath. Then Jason struck. He threw the biggest punch of the night. Boom! A huge right hook slammed into Torque's chin. The sound was like thunder. Torque's head snapped back. His eyes rolled. His body folded like a toy. Thud! Torque hit the mat hard. Dust puffed into the air. He didn't move. His red gloves dropped to the ground. He was gasping for breath. The crowd went crazy. Cheers and screams filled the night air. "No way!" someone shouted. "He did it!" a woman screamed. People stomped their feet. Everyone was yelling and clapping. The whole place was wild with excitement. Jason stood tall, breathing steady. He had waited. He had watched. And when the time was right, he won. Jason stood tall. His chest went up and down as he breathed. His fists were tight, but he looked calm. He looked like a strong warrior in a big storm. Torque moved slowly, his eyes blinking. He looked confused, like he didn't know what happened. The fight had taken all the strength out of him. He wasn't loud anymore. He didn't look proud. He looked surprised and dizzy. The referee bent down to check on Torque. He started to count slowly, but the people watching already knew. They shouted loudly. Lights shone bright on Torque. He was down. Everyone knew Jason had won. This wasn't just a little win. It was a big, bright moment. Something everyone would remember. People saw it as a lesson. Never think Jason can't win. Jason showed his skills, his strength, and his smart thinking. He had trained for years. He knew martial arts. He had strong willpower. And now it all showed. Jason was a movie star, but in the real ring, he was a real fighter too. A kid in the crowd shouted, "That was crazy!" Another kid screamed, "Jason is so strong!" The air felt full of energy. Dust floated down as the ring got quiet. This fight was like a big show. Jason took a deep breath and stepped back. His face didn't show much, but his eyes were bright. He had won, and he didn't need to brag. Torque was still on the ground. The crowd was wild. Some people were shouting. Some were quiet, surprised. Others were yelling, "Jason! Jason!" It felt like the ground was shaking. The fight had changed the whole night. This wasn't just a win. It was a big moment. A moment where someone who bragged too much got surprised. Jason's punch told the truth. It said, "Don't ever think I'm not real." The referee lifted Jason's hand. The crowd cheered loudly. People clapped. They were amazed. Torque was still dizzy. He got on his knees. His head was spinning. He had lost. One punch had ended it. The lights got brighter. Even the stars in the sky seemed to watch. This knockout was big. Everyone would remember it. Jason was strong. People's hearts beat faster. This night now had a new hero. That one punch showed everyone. Jason is no joke. And this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning. The ring under the open sky was still glowing. Dust floated in the air. The crowd's voices echoed all around. The canvas in the ring was wet from sweat. It still shook from that powerful punch. The air smelled like excitement and hard work. Torque, the Rocket, Raleigh looked tired. His legs shook as he stood up slowly. Sweat dripped down his face. The crowd got quiet again. Everyone watched. Torque was not smiling anymore. He didn't look full of pride like before. He looked at Jason standing in the middle. Jason wore a black tank top, soaked with sweat. His muscles were tight and strong. Then Torque gave a slow nod. It was a sign of respect. He was saying, "I see how strong you are." The referee moved away. The bright lights were shining on both fighters. Some people clapped. The crowd whispered to each other. Torque, with messy hair and tired eyes, spoke. His voice was rough. "I messed up, man," he said. He knew it now. He had been wrong. "I thought you were just a movie guy," Torque added. "But I was wrong. Jason, you're the real deal." Torque looked down. He felt a little sad but also clearer. He wasn't trying to be a big shot anymore. He had been beaten fair and square. And now he knew it. Someone in the crowd said, "Torque's real for saying that." A lady nodded and said, "He's learning." Jason stayed calm. He didn't act like a big winner. He didn't brag. He just stood quietly, strong and still. He looked at Torque and nodded back. It was a small nod, but full of meaning. No gloating, just respect. "Good fight," Jason said. His voice was steady and quiet. He was being kind and fair. He was proud but not mean. The crowd cheered louder. People lifted their hands. They chanted, "Jason! Jason!" The night felt alive with joy and energy. A kid shouted, "He's a legend!" Another yelled, "Rocket took it like a man!" The lights moved across the ring. It shone on both fighters. Torque still wobbled a little, but he reached out and shook Jason's hand. Their handshake was strong. It showed respect. It showed Torque wanted to learn and get better. Jason stepped back, wiping his face. He was calm. He didn't need to show off. His power spoke for him. The crowd cheered even louder. Some people threw their hats in the air. Others stomped their feet. The ring, dusty and old, now held a great story. This used to be Torque's place to brag. Now it was where Jason became a true champion. Jason's story was growing. People would talk about this night for a long time. A teenager whispered, "I didn't think that would happen." A biker clapped and said, "Jason's the real deal." The night was full of energy. Dust spun in the air. The ring looked like a monument, a place where something big had happened. Torque walked slowly to his corner. His head was low, but his eyes were shining again. He had learned something. A seed had been planted. Maybe next time, he'd be better. Jason stood in the middle of the ring. He didn't say much, but everyone could feel his strength. The crowd cheered with respect. They knew this wasn't just about winning a fight. It was about learning. It was about being strong inside and outside. The night was over, but the story wasn't done. Jason's win was spreading fast. Everyone would talk about it. The stars above the ring sparkled. The night sky watched quietly. And now everyone wanted to know, what's next? Would Torque train harder and come back stronger? Would Jason fight someone even tougher? Would their paths cross again? One thing was sure. The dusty old ring had become a battlefield. Torque had walked in full of pride, but left with a lesson. Jason walked in calm and ready, and walked out a hero. Torque thought he would win easily. He thought Jason was just an actor. But Jason proved him wrong. With one big, loud punch, Jason changed everything. The crowd gasped. The fight ended. The story flipped. It was a real, raw fight. It showed that real skill is stronger than just big talk. Torque's pride fell to the ground. He learned that you have to be ready, not just loud. Jason's quiet power stayed strong. The crowd would talk about this fight for a long time. It was a big, exciting moment, and it asked a big question. What would you do? Would you come back stronger after a mistake, like Torque? Or would you stay calm and strong, like Jason? This fight showed something real. A big, loud truth. Let that truth sit in your heart. Think about it, and ask yourself, when your moment comes, will you doubt, or will you shine? Will you fall, or will you fight like Jason? This night, this punch, this moment, it matters, and it won't be forgotten. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.